A few hours ago, Frontier made a post on the forum revealing some information about an upcoming patch that's going to be launched on the 23rd of April, which is in just 2 weeks. And today we're going to run through it and I'm going to give you my points and views. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous with Down to Earth Astronomy. A little bit of a rushed video today, but since Frontier just announced some updates that's going to come out, and again in less than 2 weeks, 23rd of April, I thought I would run through it with you. So I'll give you my impressions of it and how I think it will affect the game, because there are some very significant changes in here. A lot of it is for new players, but there's also some things that will definitely affect more veteran players, and most likely you will have to rethink a lot of your ship builds. But let's dive right into it, and let's begin with the first one, which is a new beginner zone. So basically what Frontier is doing is they're going to make a closed number of systems that are only accessible to players who have not gained any ranks in combat, trade, or exploration. So as long as you haven't gained your first rank, you will be able to access this new player zone, which is also where you will start the game. And that zone will then contain missions that are easy to complete even in a stock Sidewinder. So it's a way to ease people into the game so they don't undock, and the first thing they find is a griefer sitting outside the station blowing them out of the sky. And also to ensure that there's an area where they can make very easy to complete missions that you can't access as a more experienced player. And the reason why they're doing this, I think, is because they're most likely going to be very profitable missions, at least compared to the difficulty of them. So they would maybe pay more than they normally would if you were a more experienced player, at least for the level. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like they pay millions, but it might be like go out and transport 2 tons of cargo and get paid, let's say, 100,000. They are able to do something that overpays a little bit because they know only brand new players can get access to those missions and are able to use them to get some money in the early games. Again, not 100% sure how much that's going to be, but I think it's something like that they're going to use it for. Exactly where the zone is going to be, I don't know. We don't have a full patch note just yet. And then they're also adding some new modules that will have some, I think, pretty significant impacts on the game. The first module is the advanced docking computer. Now, the docking computer as we have it today is only capable of docking your ship. It can't undock. The advanced docking computer can do both. Frankly, I don't see why this has to be 2 different modules. Why wouldn't you just update the existing docking computer so it could both dock and undock rather than having 2 separate modules? The advanced docking computer will also come on every newly purchased small ship, and it will also come fitted to your stock Sidewinder you get at the beginning of the game. So at least that's, I mean, sure, I can see how this could help people, but as we'll come back to in a bit, it's just moving the problem to a later stage in the game. The other module they're adding is the Supercruise Assist module, which is basically like the docking computer, but it automatically throttles your the ship, so it keeps the correct velocity, so you don't do a loop of shame. Now, one thing it doesn't do though is align, so you would still have to steer the ship and point it in the right direction. So you can't just go AFK and then you will come back and it's stopped right outside the station. And I don't think it will disengage the Supercruise either. I'm not actually sure. No, it will actually also break Supercruise for you when you are at the optimal time, so you will drop out at the station. But again, as we know, you will always have to do small adjustments as you get closer, so you can't again just go AFK and then you will come out of the station, since it seems like it will not be able to align itself with the station. You have to do that manually. Both of these modules are class 1 slots, are class 1 modules. They'll need a class 1 optional internals, which brings me on to the next thing they're going to add, which is they're going to add additional class 1 modules to all ships. All small ships will have 2 additional class 1 optional internal slots added to them, and all medium and large ships will receive 1 additional class 1 optional internal slot. This is of course intended to be used for these new Supercruise Assist or the advanced docking computers. But this is where all these three things kind of like fit together: the docking computer, the Supercruise assist, and the extra module. This is kind of like one bundle together. First of all, because all the new ships will be fitted with, all new small ships will be fitted with the advanced docking computer, players will just think that the ship just does this automatically for them when they start the game, and they won't think about it, because when you just start the game, you don't worry too much about fitting. Fitting can be a very intimidating thing when you're starting up the game because the sheer number of options that you have. So it will just, what will happen is that people will have this computer, and then suddenly they are getting used to being able to just click dock, and the ship just flies into the docking port itself. When they want to go out, just go launch, it takes off and fly out on its own as well. As soon as people then get into the first medium ship, then suddenly the ship doesn't do that, and then people think, oh, this ship doesn't have that feature, it was so nice to have it, I'm going to go back to my old ship. And people don't, I think it will take some time before people realize why it doesn't do that. And of course people will have to learn, but it means that people are a lot further into the game before they have to learn to actually dock and undock their ship, because they can pretty much play for the first, significant amount of time before they even have to worry about how to actually land on a landing pad. The same thing with, of course, the cruise assist, if people have that fitted. I don't think those comes as standard. No, the Super Cruise Assist module also comes as standard on all newly purchased ships, that means of all sizes. I should say it can also, that's actually quite a neat feature, they can also allow you to go into orbit around the planet, so it will automatically orbit around the planet for you. That's pretty neat, I think. But again, it will take some time until people realize that they can get rid of that module and they have to learn it manually, at which point maybe people won't. I don't know. But the main thing is that extra one class 1 optional turn slot on the medium large ships and 2 on the small ones, that's quite significant. Because if you remove these new modules and you use this for something else, especially for mining ships, this is going to have a very huge impact. Right now, all mining ships, we will pretty much fit a prospecting limpet controller. And you're interested in fitting in as small a prospecting limpet controller as possible. You really only need one active limpet, you don't need a ton of range, so you just fit the smallest you can. Now on some ships, that means that we have to occupy a grade 2, 3, maybe even 4 slot with a prospecting limpet controller, even though we don't need a class 1 slot. So for mining ships, having that extra class 1 slot suddenly appearing, meaning that we can actually free up that class 2 or 3 slot that we were using before, which we could then use for something else. Which could potentially mean, let's say we are using up a class 3 slot for the prospecting limpet controller. But now we get an extra class 1 slot, we move that down, and we actually get an additional 2 limpets, collector limpets we can use, making mining faster. I'm not saying this, I'm not complaining. This makes mining faster. It means that we can collect our fragments faster. It means we can make more money per hour. But it's also going to mean, because the smaller ships gets 2 additional slots, it's going to make the smaller ships a lot stronger. And it's not insignificant. I was talking to Yamix about it on his live stream just actually a few hours ago. And he seemed to have done the math, and you should be able to get, I think the Sidewinder would be able to get around 40% extra armor hit points from this increase of slots. So you can see how the small ships can be a lot stronger now, since they can fit a lot more modules. They can have a significant increase in the number of armors. So I think this can have a large effect on many ships, not just the mining ships, but I also think it's about time then that I do a updated build on the Cube Combo, because I have done some changes to it over the time, and with that extra slot I will have to move some things around now. So that's definitely something that I'll be looking into. But I think this will actually have a larger effect than it seems at the surface, the fact that you get that extra slot, because you can take that utility module that you really just need to have in the smallest possible size, just dump it down that module, and then you will free up a higher class module you can use for something useful. Now, moving on, the navigation panel is also receiving a little bit of love. What they're doing here is they are revamping it with some additional information. basically it seems that they're adding an extra column where they can put different icons next to the different bodies that you can see, whether you are wounded or what kind of activities they are, and you can then expand that to get an additional, like a small pop-up that will give you additional information on that object. Stuff like they're mentioning here, something like the resources available. I guess that would be on planets, but also threat levels, and stuff like that would be available in that pop-up. I think it's nice to have useful information as close as hand when we need it. And this is actually a general thing you'll see as we move through this update. There's a lot of stuff that's very useful information. They will try to provide it as close to when you need it as possible, so you don't have to go and look up information when you need it. Then it will be just 1 or 2 clicks away, which I think is an absolute awesome update. I haven't seen this in action, of course, but I could see this being a useful update, a nice quality of life update. And in case you didn't know, Elite Dangerous actually has a manual. You can see it from the launcher, and that player or pilot's handbook will now be available in-game, I think similar to the way the Codex is done. So again, a lot of people don't even know this exists, so it's nice to get that again, as we talked about, getting the information closer, and it's also going to help newer players actually, hopefully, figuring out that there is a manual they can go and they can read up on if they have some questions or some information they're seeking about the game. They're also doing some updates to trading, and especially to the trading UI, and it's not just stuff that will affect newer players. This is definitely also going to affect older players. What they will do is they will split the screen up into 2. So we'll both have a buy screen and we have a sell screen. So 2 different screens you can look at. And on that screen you will have, of course, the information that you're used to, like the price and how much is available and the supply. But they will also highlight items that are needed for, like, say, missions. So if you have a mission, it could be a search and supply mission where you need to go and buy some material. If you have an active mission, then that material will be highlighted probably in the buy screen. And similarly, when you're then going to sell that item, it will also be highlighted. Again, making it a little bit easier to locate the items that you're actually trying to sell. You should also, from this icon, be able to see how much, as I read it, how much profit you're going to be able to make from the module before you sell it. So you don't have to go in, scroll through all the numbers and wait for it to go to the max, see how much profit you would make. You'll be able to see that a lot earlier, as at least the way I read it here. Trade data on nearby local systems per commodity. That's absolutely huge. So as I read this, that means that I can sit in a starport and I can see from within the market what prices are on other starports in the area. The information is technically already available, but you have to go to the galaxy map to do it. Lot more convenient to have it in the market, so that's definitely a thumbs up from here. And then we are finally getting the rework of the community goals, which will now be known as Interstellar Initiative. These are going to be month-long events that's going to be spread up into several phases. So again, we don't have a whole lot of the details. It's basically 2 lines here. But what they are going to do is they're going to make these like month-long events. I would assume there would be a little bit like mini community goals that we will have to complete. And then depending on the outcome, then some other things will happen in the next phase, something like that. Because they're lasting so long, a month, I hope that this means that it's going to be more handcrafted events rather than being some generic, these guys want to go and mine this, or they want to go kill this, or something like that, or trade this material or something like that. I hope they're going to be a little bit more handcrafted. They're going to be a little bit more, there's going to be a little bit more story into them. They do say that they can have a lasting effect on the galaxy, the outcomes of these interstellar initiatives. I guess they would be referred to as IIs. But I hope that they're going to handcraft these, at least in the beginning, until we begin to get a feeling for it. Because if it's just going to be like generic, here's a war, go do that, or here's some trading, go do that, I don't think it's going to have a huge amount of success. I really hope they're going to go and they're going to actually put in some story, because a lot of people really like when they do that, I think. And it adds a little bit of attention to it if it was also tied up to some Galnet articles or something like that. It could be really good, and I really hope it is. So definitely looking forward to that. Then there's a few minor changes here. They're gonna rework the main menu, so where you basically log into the different game modes, you have your settings, your friends list, and all that stuff. That's gonna get a rework, and they're also gonna add the Galnet articles to the main screen there, so the main menu, so you can read them from there. Okay, fair enough. That seems okay to me. I hope that now that we have Galnet out there, that I'll be able to add Galnet articles to the playlist, so I can sit and listen to them while I'm in the main screen. So I can sit before I log in, just quickly scroll through Galnet, see which article there's, click say I want to hear that, add it to the playlist, log in, and it'll begin play. That would be awesome if it would work like that. The training missions and these challenges that you can use to basically the tutorials for the game can now be accessed from within the cockpit instead of you having to go to the main menu to access them. And this is again what I talked about, getting the information you need closer to when you need it, to where you need it. As a newer player, I mean, you probably don't realize that you have, if you want to find a tutorial, that you have to go out to the main menu and then go in and find it out there. There's some training sessions out there. A lot of other games, of course, do that, but having that available in-game, so if you sit and you think, I have no idea how I dock because my ship doesn't have an advanced docking computer, what do I do? Well, then hopefully there will be a tutorial for that. You can go, you can play that, come back into the game, and then dock your ship because you would just have learned, hopefully. So again, nice to see them move things around so that they're a little bit easier to get a hold of when you need it. And the final thing is loading screen tips. I assume this is gonna be like, did you know that you can find more information on hidden stuff to explore in the codex? Or did you know that the pilot handbook is available here? Or did you know something, like basic tool tips for the game? Probably not some kind of spoilers. Would probably not put in there, like they probably wouldn't put in saying, oh, do you need to find engineering materials? Well, you should go to DAF. So something like that would probably never be put in there. And I would at least be very surprised if they did. So it's probably going to be more, hopefully, tips like don't fly without a rebuy. And did you know you can fit a fuel scoop and you can then refuel on stars? Or did you know your ship comes with a docking computer, but you can unfit it? Maybe something like that to teach people that these modules exist, something like that. I'm gonna link the full article, or the full, it's not really a patch note, but a full announcement in the description. You can go and you can read all of that if you're interested. But let me know if there's any of these changes that you're excited about. Are there any points you feel like I missed? Then go down, let me know in the comment section. I'll of course be reading all the comments that you guys post down there. But that's going to be it for this time. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give a like. And if you want more information when this stuff comes out, remember to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll see you guys in space.